Moscow is offering Fico significant discounts, but Slovakia will have to pay for them, said the president of Ukraine. He criticized the negotiations between the Slovak prime minister and Putin. In reality, Robert Fico is not interested in Russian gas supplies, believe Volodymyr Zelensky. His main goal is to do business with the aggressor country.
In fact, after our conversation in Brussels, in the presence of all European leaders, nothing surprises me. We are fighting for life. Fico is fighting for money and hardly for the benefit of Slovakia. Shadow agreements with Putin are either in a state interest or working for personal gain. We made him an offer regarding possible compensation for Slovakia's losses from the Russian transit, specifically for Slovakia and for alternatives to transit. Any other gas not Russian at the request of the European Commission. We were ready to do this. Fico did not want compensation for Slovakia, and he doesn't want to cooperate with the European Commission. For some reason, it's more beneficial for him in Moscow. Everyone in Europe understands why. There is no one who doesn't understand.
A pan-European rejection of Russian energy resources is the way to deny Russia of the ability to use resource supplies as a weapon, underlined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine. Despite the European Union's policy and the cooperation of European states to diversify energy supplies, the Prime Minister of Slovakia insists on keeping the country dependent on Russia, as highlighted by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine.
Ukraine is paying the highest price, the human lives, to restrain Russian aggression and protect European homes, including Slovak ones, from Russian murderers. We will not accept the shameful policy of appeasement which has already proven its mistakes in the last century. The Slovak side should remember this better than anyone else. We call on all European partners to work together to reduce dependence on Russian energy resources and strengthen Europe's energy security, from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine statement.
Since the beginning of the Russian Federation's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, the Slovak Prime Minister has already visited Moscow 3 times. The main topic of the latest visit was the transit of Russian gas. Fico's policy has been criticized not only in Ukraine and the European Union but also in Slovakia itself. A protest called Enough of Russia, organized by NGO Peace for Ukraine, took place in Bratislava.
Vladimírom Putinom!
Analysts at the Institute for the Study of War believe that Putin used Fico's visit to Moscow to advance a campaign to undermine Western unity in supporting Ukraine.
ISW continues to maintain that the Kremlin is developing relationships with individual Western and NATO members to use them to deepen divisions in the West and undermine support for Ukraine. From the ISW report.
Ситуация із Фіцо.
The situation with Fico is also interesting because he is the first actual leader of a European country to visit Putin during the full-scale Russian invasion of Ukraine, not to talk about peace in Ukraine or the need for de-escalation, but to discuss his personal issues, Slovak-Russian bilateral relations. In this context, he is even worse than Orban.
Experts are confident that Fico is focused on further cooperation with Russia despite all the proposed alternatives. He insists on the transit of Russian gas. Putin's interest is also clear. In addition to profiting from resource exports, he, with the help of Fico and Orban, is trying to maintain influence over the European Union's policy. Reported by Alexandra Zaslavets, Yulia Hranovska, UATV News.